All right, we're going to start the meeting. If you have any cell phones, please silence them. If you could take any calls, please take them outside. Today is July 26, 2017. This is a regular meeting of the members of the State Liquor Authority. Present today are Chairman Bradley, Commissioner Ford, General Counsel Riano, Deputy Commissioner of Licensing held, and myself, Secretary of the Authority Donahue. Items will be called in the order that they are signed in. I think there's one or two items in Buffalo, and then we'll go to New York. The next meetings of the authority are August 16th, so it's going to be a 3-week gap between the next meeting, then August 30th, and then September 13th. As your items are called, please approach the podium and speak into the microphone, and also introduce yourself. The first item is going to be in New York City. It's items up. Sorry, besides this, have you anything else you wanted to?
I just, if the meeting goes at 12:30, I'm going to have to take a half-hour break, so just so everyone knows.
Okay. The first item is 1635J. It is a request by Office of Counsel for proposed emergency summary order of suspension regarding Sunny O's Ltd.
Senior Attorney Kalfar, please.
Good morning. Good morning, Chairman Bradley, Commissioner Ford, and to the board. My name is Meredith Kalfar, and I'm an attorney with Counsel's Office. This matter is submitted to the members of the New York State Liquor Authority for consideration of an emergency summary order of suspension pursuant to Section 4013 of the State Administrative Procedure Act. Counsel's Office is making this recommendation in light of newly received information from both New York State Liquor Authority Enforcement Bureau and referrals received from the Nassau County Police Department, which particularly include a homicide as well as drug transactions and possessions in or about the premises. Sunny O's Limited, doing business as Sunny O's, is located at 269 West Merrick Road, Valley Stream, New York, in a mixed-use area with residential homes in close proximity. The original license was issued on May 14, 2004 to James Sullivan as sole licensee and principal in Sunny O's Limited. The application states that it would operate as a tavern with a jukebox and no dancing. The hours of operation are from 10 a.m. to 4 a.m. Additionally, the method of operation states that the principal would self-manage the premises and that there would be no security personnel. Although, in light of its adverse history, they should have had in place security personnel. The maximum occupancy noted is 100 patrons. This establishment has, in the past 60 days, become a focal point of police attention, wherein the police have been at the premises 6 times for calls for a disorderly premise, assaults and altercations, criminal mischief, and drug transactions and possession. Additionally, on March 13, 2017, there was a verbal altercation that occurred inside the premises, which ultimately led to a homicide that occurred immediately outside of this location. More specifically, the details of these new and troubling charges are as follows. The March 13th homicide. Based on information received from the Nassau County Police Department, on March 13th, an altercation occurred inside the licensed premises, which then continued outside the premises. The victim, who was a patron of Sunny O's, was found lying on his back immediately outside of the licensed premises with gunshot wounds to his neck and left abdomen. The patron was pronounced dead at the hospital. The licensed premises was issued a summons for disorderly premise and is currently the subject of a homicide investigation. More recently, on July 11th, police officers were patrolling the parking lot of the licensed premises, which is a known drug-prone location, when the officers observed what they thought to be a drug transaction. Officers asked the patron to exit the vehicle and asked him what his business was at Sunny O's and if he had any narcotics on him. The patron stated that he had some in his pocket, which he just bought from another patron at Sunny O's. The officer then recovered a plastic bag containing white powdery substance believed to be cocaine from the patron's pants pocket. One day earlier, on July 10, 2017, police officers conducted a car stop after a vehicle exited the parking lot of the licensed premises, wherein the officers noted the patron to have a white powdery substance on his jeans. The officers found 2 plastic bags containing a white powdery substance believed to be cocaine and a plastic straw with a residual amount of cocaine. The patron stated that he had just come from Sunny O's. On July 6, 2017, a verbal altercation took place inside the premises, which then continued to the outside of the premises, where a patron was punched by another patron and fell to the ground. The patron was extremely intoxicated and was transported to the hospital for treatment. All the patrons were removed from the premises, and no one from the establishment called the police for assistance. On July 1, 2017, police officers were patrolling the parking lot behind Sunny O's when they observed a car parked away from all the other vehicles. When they approached the car, they observed a clear Ziploc bag containing a white powdery substance believed to be cocaine on the rear passenger seat. The patrons were arrested for drug possession. Additionally, at the precinct, a search of one of the patrons' pants pockets recovered another clear Ziploc bag containing a white powdery substance believed to be cocaine. On June 24th, an altercation occurred inside the establishment and continued onto the sidewalk in front of the premises. The responding officers found the front glass window broken at the establishment and a fresh blood trail that led from the bar to the street. The bartender told the police that 2 patrons were involved in a physical altercation inside the premises. The staff then forced all the patrons out of the premises and locked the door. Once again, no one from the establishment called 911 for police assistance. Thereafter, the patron involved in the altercation returned to the bar to obtain his cell phone in order to call the police. When the bartender refused his entry, he became angry and punched in the front window with his fist and then fled the scene. Clearly, the facts as presented give rise to the presumption that this establishment has become a focal point for police attention. More specifically, the police have had to respond to the licensed establishment at least 6 times in the past 60 days. This does not include the homicide that occurred on March 13, 2017. Most recently, on July 15, 2017, several patrons were arrested for unlawful possession of marijuana at the licensed premises. In addition, on July 15th, SLA Enforcement and Investigator Stravali inspected Sunny O's. It received a number of violations. Most notably was the fact that there was no kitchen nor food available for the patrons, and that the owner stated to the inspector that there was no food for sale for the past 5 years. There was also an untaxed liquor and violation for purchase from an unauthorized source, as well as other violations. Sunny O's has been the subject of police activity in the past. On October 16, 2014 and November 15, 2014, altercations occurred inside the licensed establishment. No one associated with the premises called the police. Charges for disorderly premises were alleged in 2 separate notices of pleadings, and then, subsequently, the licensee offered a conditional no contest plea in connection with said charges. The board accepted the $2,500 offer on March 10, 2015. Additionally, on June 15, 2015, a patron was punched and kicked after leaving the establishment by 2 other patrons who he had argued with earlier inside. Thereafter, the 2 patrons re-entered the establishment and another altercation took place. The patron was punched in the face and kicked until he fell to the floor, and then he eventually staggered out and called 911. Once again, no one came to his assistance and no security guards were present. After hearings were held and charges sustained, a $3,500 penalty was imposed by the board. Furthermore, on August 1, 2015, patrons of the establishment were observed consuming alcohol directly outside the front door of Sunny O's. Also, during an inspection conducted on the same day, a plainclothes officer observed an individual enter the licensee's bathroom. After the patron exited the bathroom, the officer entered and found crack cocaine inside of the bathroom. During the hearing in connection with these charges, the administrative law judge used the officer's testimony as evidence and stated in his decision that while not charged against the licensee, there was testimony of the discovery of cocaine in the bathroom of the licensed premises. The totality of the circumstances, therefore, raises a fair inference that the licensee failed to exercise adequate supervision over the conduct of the licensed premises as charged. On June 17, 2016, the board imposed a $3,000 penalty. Finally, on April 28, 2016, the licensee was found to be in violation for not maintaining records books on premises. A conditional no contest plea of $1,500 was offered by the licensee and accepted by the board on September 13, 2016.
So, counsel, I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm kind of curious to kind of summarize what you've just noted. So, in addition to what seems like 1, 2, 3, 4, possibly even more previous charges that have been sustained against this particular licensee, we have a number of recent drug buys that look very serious. We have a homicide that occurred either inside or outside the premises, depending on how that looks. And it's pretty clear that this place, based on all of those drug buys, the homicide, as well as the fact that there's so much attention at this place, that this place has become a focal point for police attention, that this has become obviously a problem when it comes to the health, safety, and welfare of the people. I believe this is in Valley Stream. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So the one question I have is, when the shooting occurred, did anyone call 911 on that occasion either?
From inside the premises?
Oh, yeah, anyone from the bar, because I see that there's, part of the investigation is hindering prosecution. Is that, they're looking at the bar for that?
That is a good question. I don't know who called 911 for the homicide. That sounds about right, that it is due to
So
that, but I
consistently on the other incidents, they did not call?
on every other incident, they did not call. And I recall reading that the bartender would call the owner of the bar, and the owner's wife would show up when there was a fight or altercation. So then when the police got there, she would show up. But
And I also see in the police investigative reports that there's investigations into prostitution activity at this location? Is
that
there
was
any incident?
we didn't charge that. That is a new, we just received those records from the police, so we didn't look into that yet, but
But the records do indicate that they're looking into it?
yes.
Okay.
All the cocaine mentions all say believed to be. Have there been any, I know this has been kind of recent, have there been any conclusive tests to come back to verify that yet?
Well, as of yesterday, they are still at the property awaiting testing. We spoke to the sergeant and the police department. They are confident that they will come back positive through their experience of dealing with cocaine. And
They didn't do any field tests?
no, they don't do that. We asked them about it. They don't do that in their ordinary course of business in Valley Stream.
Okay.
All right,
I have nothing else.
all right. Yes.
Yes.
With everything else, 6 times police have been there, what, in 2 months, 60 days, is that what you said? Yeah. The illegal drug activity, intoxicated patrons being served, no food in the past 5 years, seems rather minor to everything else that's going on there. Untaxed, unauthorized inventory. They've been an unruly licensee for several years, which has culminated with a homicide on their property. So I really don't need to hear any more than the fact that there was someone murdered there, and I'm done. So I vote for the emergency summary order of suspension.
I'll vote for the suspension as well. It's clear that the public health, safety, and welfare requires a summary suspension at this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, counsel.
I'm sorry, Secretary, we had a hard time hearing that.
He called us.
You had a hard time hearing it.
I know, I didn't.
Go ahead.
Good morning. My name's John Flaherty on behalf of the licensee. If it pleases the panel, some quick history here is there's already been a determination in this case, and a fine was set for $6,000. And the suspension was the result of the late payment of the fine. The suspension has been since June the 29th. And so this is coming up on a month of suspension. The reason for the delay in the payment was difficulty in accumulating the funds. They paid the fine as soon as they could accumulate the funds. The employee that sold the 24-ounce can of beer was terminated. The other employees had been retrained in the proper identification of appropriately aged individuals for the purchase of alcoholic beverages. It's a petitioner's request at this time that the license be reinstated because they even though they paid late and they apologize for that, and there's certainly no disrespect to the authority of this board. But they have almost a 30-day suspension at this point. And they
Yeah, I'm gonna cut you off. Who are you with? Pecoraro's office?
I'm covering for Anthony Pecoraro today. I filed a notice of appearance on it.
Okay, and we have the check for the 6,000?
They did not get it back. I asked them that a minute ago. You didn't receive it back.
No, so we have it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll grant the reconsideration and accept the penalty.
Same here. Same here.
Thank you.
Thank you. I thought
All right. The next item is 1594, also in Buffalo, Lockport Mini Mart, Inc.
Good morning. My name is Attorney Matthew Lazaro. I represent the licensee Lockport Mini Mart. With me is the licensee Shabnam Kashmiri and her husband. They did plead no contest to serving to a minor. There was a $6,000 penalty imposed. I did ask for a reconsideration. They're a small mini mart located in Lockport. It's a family-run operation. Their son was the person who sold the can of liquor to the minor. Right now, they just have enough money to make ends meet, and we're requesting a reconsideration of the penalty and requesting a payment of $2,500 to satisfy the charges.
I mean, do they have a prior sale in their history?
No, according to the reason for referral online, the most recent violation was just a unauthorized trade name back in June of 2013. So I'm not aware of any other previous serving to a minor penalty.
2004 and 2005
They had sales.
sales, yeah.
Yeah, so they had sales in 2004, 2005. Is that two sales?
They were independent. Hang on, do you want penalties? Hold on.
Just one back in 2004.
All right. 4/14/04, paid a $1,500 fine. Let's see. $3,000 for sale to minor. It's hard to find it in here. Here it is. For another sale to minor on 5/05.
All right, I mean, they are
That's
12 years ago,
Right.
but this is a third sale to minor.
Just a second.
I was unaware of that. That wasn't listed on the.
I mean, generally, we only go back,
so.
generally, we only go back 5 years, so but I think that's probably, if those two were within the 5 years, the fine would have been 10,000. So, I mean, I'll go down, but I'm not going to 2,500.
3,000 then.
I'll give you 4. The normal fine would be 5 with no history. I mean, would be 3 with no history.
Okay.
4,000 is okay with me, too. It's been, 12 years? So, 4,000.
That's fair. Thank you very much.
Chairman, you want us to rescind the cancellation
Yes,
now? And then
yes.
we'll send out a penalty letter.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we have no other items in Buffalo. We have nothing in Albany.
Shut them down, Donald.
All right, in New York, the first item is 1604, Tippefew, Inc. 1604, Tippefew, Inc.
Good morning, Robert Romano for Tippefew, Inc. I made a conditional no contest offer of $4,500. I'd actually ask you to consider even a lesser amount as in reviewing the files and speaking to the principal the drug sales that are alleged and actually proven by the Syracuse Police Department had taken place outside of the premise. The individual it was one individual multiple times. It wasn't multiple individuals. They've since installed at extreme cost a very extensive security system, which I've seen.
That actually, to me, sounds worse. Because in order for that to occur,
But it occurred outside.
I get that, but in order for that to occur, given what the facts that I've been given, it means that this guy is sitting at a table, people are coming in, asking him to walk outside, hand them drugs, and then he's going back to the table. Now, and you want me to believe that they don't know this is going on? I'll take the 4,500.
Okay, thank you.
4,500 accept.
Okay, thank you, both. Thank you, everyone.
The next item is 1606, Lismonade LLC.
Good morning, Stacy Weiss. Elizabeth Pagan. I'm requesting that the authority vacate the default. I have the licensee here. She.
What do you mean the default?
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I was going to add, I have in capital letters, ask Jackie about that.
Why this is to the full board is the fact that the licensees, or this is in case the applicants, prior history of non-responsiveness to us, not necessarily the violation. I mean, it was a non-bona fide. However, there was another violation before that. There's been no payment of fines. There's been no response to pleadings.
And I will.
Now she's just reapplying for the same thing.
Did she owe us money? I don't see anything.
Well, there was let's see, what do we got?
I'll
The
explain
renewal, the technical violation on the renewal, the 5-day notification. We posed a 5-day forthwith due to the non-payment, and that's when we found out that the place is not open, which stemmed the proceeding that we had to go through for the non-bona fide to cancel the license.
And
she didn't respond to any of the pleadings. She doesn't respond.
So there was a $500 fine they didn't pay.
Correct.
We suspended.
And they weren't open.
So what's she going to do about the fine?
we have a check here to pay that. And I'll explain what happened. She has a summer license, and she's been open since 2013 with that license, never had any problems before. And what happened was she had gotten a fine for the $500, but actually the paper that came with the fine said dismissed on it. And so when she got the second letter, the place was already closed. And
The letter may have said dismissed, however, it did indicate there was a payment of a fine. A corrected letter was issued. I looked through the back.
But what happened
records.
was the place was already closed for the summer, for the winter season.
But she
so
didn't
she didn't get
Under
it.
the license for safekeeping.
Right. And what happened was she didn't realize that the license had to be put into safekeeping because she closes in September.
And it was
the license goes to
non-bonafide,
October. The license goes to October. And she never knew that she had to put it into, had to turn the license in at the end of the season. She's had it since, like I said, every year since 2013. Since then, obviously now she's been informed that she has to now put turn the license in.
Well, now she's only applying for a seasonal, right?
Well, she's always been a seasonal, always been a seasonal. She didn't realize that at the end, in September, she had to put it in for that last month of October.
Oh, I see. Okay.
so she
All
had it
right.
for the last
So
month.
as long as she has the check, I'll
She has a check made out, a certified bank check for the $500.
so I'll approve.
Okay, and we had a license application and.
Oh, that's what we're dealing with is the application, right? Yeah, that's what you're here
It's up to you
on.
whether or not you
Yes,
want to go backwards and do something on that. That's totally up to you, but.
Right, and
What, the bona fide, you mean? No, as long as the 500's paid, we're good.
I would appreciate that, because she only has a month left on the season now, and we.
Well, no, she has till October.
No, the place closes in September.
I get it.
So we're trying to get, can she get a letter to open now for that last,
Well, they
Meet
have
the conditions and we'll issue the license.
The only condition is the publication, and I brought it with me.
Then send them up to me in Albany and we'll take care of it tomorrow.
Okay.
I know you want a letter today. I don't issue 20-day letters, 5-day letters, whatever. I'm getting
Okay.
away from that whole process.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, I
Get your stuff in and she'll have it for the weekend.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
He's got to vote.
Yeah, we haven't,
Oh,
it
I'm
hasn't been
sorry,
approved
I'm
yet.
sorry. I'm
No, I approved it.
I'm sorry.
I approve as well,
Thank you very much, sorry.
for the record.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
The next item is 1635F, Facility Concession Services, Inc.
Is the community board here? Go ahead.
Good morning. I'm Barbara Kwan from the law firm of Dano McMullen and Panoff PC. I submitted a pretty comprehensive written submission last week on the 20th, and I don't want to waste the board's time.
No, I mean, the one question I have, which I believe the ALJ raised as well, is why is this even 500 foot? And the only reason I know that, and I'm almost embarrassed to admit it, I was in this place in 1990, so I'm
Right.
fully aware that it was open.
It has been continually licensed, but we deemed that we still needed to give the community board 500-foot notice. I'm sorry, the 30-day notice for the licensing.
You did, but you didn't have to, I don't understand why we went through this whole 500-foot hearing and everything.
They called us in, and we negotiated stipulations to be a good neighbor.
Well, no, you did
and
a
not
hearing,
bypass.
too.
Right. We were called for.
So you agree it's not a 500-foot?
It is not a 500-foot matter.
Okay. Go ahead.
But we did spend quite a bit of time, and I know the board understands what it takes to get to this point, with Community Board 3 in particular. We agreed on hours, we agreed on almost every point of method of operation, and when a draft of the stipulations was presented to us before the full board, we had noticed that they had a prohibition on all sports. Our understanding was that a prohibition would only be on live combat sports. So not to be facetious, we went to the Susan Stetzer directly before the full board and said, listen, we're not trying to be cute, but we want to make sure we can have a pool table. We can have darts. And she said, don't be ridiculous. Of course you can have those things. And I said, legally, those are sports. So we just want to be clear because they are. So I believe there's like Olympic categories for some of these even. So at this point, we were so terrified of the board that we just wanted to be sure that we could do these average bar activities.
You want to do e-gaming.
Exactly. And so we had said, you know what?
And that's classified as a sport?
No, well, it's debatable. If you look at the Wikipedia
I don't
article.
think it's debatable.
Some people say it's a mental sport. So, and there are sporting games and competitions within the esports realm. So because they were being so semantically particular, we said, listen, esports is something that's growing. We would really like to be able to consider this in the future. It's a potentially 30-year lease. And for some reason, the full board denied our request to even include
And
esports.
did they indicate what, because they don't indicate what the problem with esports is, and I'm having a tough time figuring out how they're going to let you have, you fill in the blank, rap star come in
Right.
with 3,000 people, but they're worried about 20-year-olds playing NBA.
We made that point at the meeting as well. We said, you'll let us have a rap show or a heavy metal concert till 4 a.m., but you have this very strong feeling against esports, which is essentially
They
teenagers.
weren't concerned about rap concerts.
No, and we never even got into an argument about the hours. They understood the nature of Webster Hall and how it was managed. The 9th Precinct has been very happy with Webster Hall and its operations. We've met with them.
But no one articulated what their concern with this was?
No.
I mean, the MMA stuff, maybe they have
Sure.
a personal disagreement
Right.
about it or something, but this I don't understand.
If you're willing to take my word for it, I sat through the full
That's all I
full
can
board
do at
meeting.
this
Right.
point.
A couple of the board members had questions. What does this mean? What are we talking about? And they said, we just don't like, they have a very strong feeling towards this tech hub that's growing on 14th Street, which has nothing to do with us, but it's where they're saying it's going to be like a mini Silicon Valley.
And they're
core.
against that?
They're against that industry changing the East Village.
Business.
Yes, businesses. And they felt like 3 blocks south to have a live entertainment venue where someone might be playing video games is just an extension of that. That's what I gathered. It seemed very
Can you
attenuated.
explain exactly what one of these contests looks like generally?
Yeah, I mean, I've looked at images online as well, and there's tables set up, computer terminals, and a large screen. And there are people competing either there directly or elsewhere, and people are watching the competition. Generally, alcohol is not even consumed. People are drinking energy drinks to stay alert and awake. And to watch these competitions.
But if I assume you are going to make it available at those things.
Of course,
Yeah.
we will make it available. But I know that part of the new operators, they operate Barclay Center. They've had such an event, and they said they make almost nothing in alcohol sales at these events because everybody's playing the games and eating snacks.
I have a son who's into this kind of thing, and I can tell you, they're all nerds there. So
I will tell you, one of the members of the full board was sort of aghast at the reaction of the other members of the board who were voting in the audience, and he said, "Guys, this is video games. What is the problem here?" And
It's a Big Bang Theory, that's what it is.
and due to the manifest, the actual number of attendees would actually be much lower than for a live music event.
And then, was there any stipulation with the former owners that would indicate that they couldn't do this?
No, there were none.
And was there any indication or stipulation with the community board with the former owners that they couldn't do any legal activities such as MMA, which obviously at that time was illegal, but now it's legal?
Right. Not that we're aware of. And just to be clear, live combat sports includes boxing now as well. And boxing did occur. And we said, well, what about boxing? And they said, no, we don't want that. And I said, we have evidence of boxing occurring at least annually. They have the FDNY, NYPD.
Yeah.
I've attached advertisements for non-FDNY, NYPD events as well. I was only able to find evidence of, I think, 5 or 7 that are attached. But in any event, when I raised that personally with Susan Stetzer, I said, listen, before I say this before everybody, I'd like you to understand that this has been going on at Webster Hall. It's a known event. She said, well, not to us. And so if they were doing it and we didn't know, then, we're not going to approve it for you.
All right. So with all these stipulations that they've submitted on July 17th, the one you're concerned about is just
part of number 2.
And everything else you are fine with?
Yep. Even for now, we're okay with the live combat sports. I have certainly indicated in my written submission that if circumstances change, that may be something we pursue. Obviously, we would go before the community board and would appear before the full board if we do that. But for the time being, it's just the last phrase of stipulation 2. And for the record, there were a lot of false statements within their resolution, so I've tried to clearly mark that up for you. I mean,
are they gone, or are they still there?
They're still there. They don't cause some of them are just typos, but we're a little bit shocked that in one of the whereas clauses, they indicated that we intend to host sports competitions when we clearly have told them we will not do that. We just wanted the right to have esports video gaming competitions. There's another whereas clause where they say we didn't give them notice of the alterations that would take place between the periods of ownership. That was the crux of our entire application. We described the timeline of the changes. We give plans and descriptions of the changes. So I wasn't sure where that came from. And then they indicate all these letters of objection and individuals who appeared. One person appeared at each meeting. They weren't even from
the same person?
A different person. And they weren't even from 11th Street. The actual 11th Street Tenant Association met with us, loved us, and came in support and spoke.
No, and then as I pointed out, this place has been there for a long, long time, and it appears to me that you're running almost an identical operation to what they ran, but your company has significantly more experience doing it.
Correct.
Okay. Well, if you're good with everything else, because I was willing to argue with some of those too, but I'll leave the rest of them.
In the spirit of cooperation and the hours we've put in with the community board, we are willing to agree to the rest of the stipulations.
All right, the only thing I'm going to change on the stipulation is, well, one, I don't believe this is a 500-foot case, and I'm not treating it like one. So that obviously changes the review. And as to the stipulations, I'll incorporate all of them except number 2 that says it will not host any sports events, including lawful sports events consisting of boxing, mixed martial arts, or other combat sports, or video or e-gaming events. That will be enforced except for the video or e-gaming events. I don't see any reason why that should be not allowed at this location, given what was just presented to us and what I believe that they are. And all the other stipulations are incorporated into the license, and I'll vote to approve.
Even with the changes that she's made, you indicated the mistakes on there.
No, I'm going to leave it the same way as, I mean, I do take, I mean, they're not here, so I'm not going to argue about whether there's typos in it or they made misrepresentations. It sounds like the stipulations are accurate.
Right, the stipulations are what we care
I think
about.
it's the resolution that you're questioning.
Right.
Yeah.
I just want to note that the original stipulations that were submitted that I marked up, that are an exhibit, missed a couple items in 3 and 9. And since then, Community Board 3 did submit a later version.
That's
so I just
the
want to make sure.
21st, the member-
Right. I want to make sure the 21st ones are incorporated into the license.
So it's that's July 21st?
The delay- yeah,
That's the corrected copy?
That's the corrected copy from the Community Board after we pointed out the errors, yeah.
Okay, but so the number I referred to is the same, right, Jackie?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm going to approve, agree and approve as well with the chairman, with the just changes to stipulation number 2.
Commissioner, are you also in agreement that this is not a 500-foot case?
Yes, sir.
And then you've already offered that if you do intend to have combat sports or MMA or ultimate fighting, you will go back to the community board and at least seek their approval. It doesn't require you, and then also submit something to us.
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yep, good luck.
The next item is 1534, Costco Wholesale Corporation.
Again, Barbara Kwan with the law firm of Dano McMullen and Panoff PC. The licensee received a notice regarding the sale of what is low alcohol wine that was mistakenly sold by the distributor to the licensee. When the licensee understood the issue, that it was not registered properly as a wine product, even though it had a low ABV, it removed all of the products within a week of the notice that we received, and is making an offer of $15,000 for $1,000.
And just for the record, we've had extensive conversations
Yes.
about this,
Yeah.
so, right.
I'll accept.
Accept.
Thank you.
Next item is 1563, 30 LLC.
Hi, it's Roberto Aita, member of Julo LLC. My lawyer is in vacation.
Okay. So he made an offer of $1,500, you're aware of that, to settle this case?
Yes, what happened, we had a DBA on 2012 when we opened, and somehow it was never submitted, and then he resubmitted again.
All right, well, I'll accept the offer. And I see that there's a new application filed to change the name, which
we already
it's
got
being reviewed.
Yep. 1,500 accept.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is 1635, CDT Ludlow, Inc.
Good morning. Seth Weinberg, Weinberg, Zara, Malkin, Price, LLP, appearing on behalf of CDT Ludlow.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So what happened with the original? Did you not get the letter or something?
The original letter was received. The cashier's check was purchased and mailed by the client. Unfortunately, it didn't appear to be received since the money had already been drawn from the account when the cashier's check was issued. They were unaware of the failure to have it delivered up until the point where they received the notice of revocation of the license due to failure to payment.
Okay, so I'll grant reconsideration and accept we have the 5,000 now, the check?
Could you explain that again to me? You said the 5,000 was gone?
It was a cashier's check.
Cashier's check.
So
So it
their
leaves the
bank
account
record reflects that it's been
immediately.
removed from the account. They didn't have use of those funds.
Gotcha, all right.
And were unaware that it had not been received when they received the notice. On the next business day, we contacted the State Liquor Authority, spoke to counsel's office, and reissued and FedExed a second $5,000 cashier's check.
Okay.
And did the first one ever turn up?
We've never located it. We've had it canceled at this
Okay.
point.
Good, all right.
As I said, I'll accept the reconsideration and the 5,000.
Reconsideration accepted and the 5,000.
Thank you.
Very much.
The next item is 1596, Joramas Catering Hall and Event Center, LLC.
Good morning, board. Jamar Johnson.
Nicole Sergio Johnson.
Doctor, PhD?
Correct.
Good for you. Go ahead.
We also, well, we don't know the full reason why we're here or the holdup. We do.
Well, so I'll tell you, the reason that this ended up here rather than just being done internally was because, and I'm sure you're aware of this, the previous license at this place was canceled.
Right.
So we have to ask some questions to make sure, one, you're not affiliated with them, and two, what you're going to do to make sure the same thing that occurred with the last owner doesn't occur again.
Can I tell you a little bit about us?
Yes.
Okay, we are the owners of Jarama's Barbecue Pit and Soul Food Grill in Binghamton. We just made top 13 restaurants in New York, and we also made best barbecue in our southern tier area. So we work hard. We're well known in the community, family oriented, community oriented. We got this place for a catering hall. We're a small restaurant with 12 seats. This would give us the ability to not only do weddings, birthday party, fundraisers, but also work with other community restaurants that are small like ourselves and kind of unite, and they can use this place because we lose a ton of business. We one of the best places in our area, and people call us all the time and say, listen, Jamal, if you have more than 20 seats, we will hold this there, we will hold that there. So we're doing a catering hall and a community center, and at that community center, we want to focus it on fundraising for different organizations.
So what kind of events other than weddings do you foresee having here?
We have one, to give you an example, Sheriff Harding, his fundraiser is on September 14th, and they will be raising money for him to run for office again. So that would be a prime example. We are also want to bring out a bike night back there, in which that
What's
would
it
be
called?
Bike Night, United Bikers Riding Against
Oh, okay.
Child
Yep,
Abuse.
yep.
I worked for the Children's Home for over 14 years, so a big part of my focus in the community will be to attack the issues dealing with youth. And
So you're only going to be, this is only going to be for private events?
Private events.
You're not going to, it's not going to be disco nights or any of that?
No.
Not disco, but you know what I'm talking about, DJs or club nights?
When we work with organizations and we work with different people, they can invite and sell tickets and do like with whatever you
Right.
as long as
Okay.
it's invite.
And how often do you anticipate using this?
I'm hoping 3 times a month. 3 times a month. One time for our restaurant, we're hoping to book at least one good event there a month.
And what, do you know the former owners?
Yes, I do.
And they're not involved in this in any way?
Not at all. We have proof of all the money we sent them. I even found some more down payments that we sent them. How we got to know them was they were kind of a competing restaurant. They opened up as a restaurant. We're a soul food restaurant. I believe in community first, so I introduced myself. And any time over the 2-3 years that they needed something or needed a hood person or a mechanics person or anything in our community that I knew, they can reach out to me. When they went to sell the place, we were looking for a bigger kitchen. I couldn't afford to buy the place, so I went and talked to them about leasing with the option. And that's our extent is we lease from them. They're the owners of the building. I hope to get the money together to pay them off and get them completely out.
Okay.
We also have a letter from the mayor and the economic.
Oh, I'll take that.
Yes.
And you're involved in this as well?
This is my partner and wife. on both things. On everything.
And boss.
On everything. And boss.
Yes.
So.
Do you plan on having live music there, anything like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the North Side is struggling, and our vision for the North Side, we just lost Kmart. We're losing everything on that side of town, and we hope to the city already gave us a $5,000 loan to redo the sign. We're about to put plans in to redo the building and light. We hope that building can light the whole area up. It's a very dark area. So a lot of people are excited.
What are your hours, or do you plan on having?
It's a catering hall. I don't know if you're familiar with Terracotta or any other other places that are in our area, but we hope to compete with those. So if someone's planning to have a wedding and they say, listen, we want to have a pre-party and then a wedding on Saturday, we hope to do the Friday night and Saturday night.
So that's what I'm asking, how late?
3 o'clock the latest. We will close the same time every other.
Okay, and you're going to have, depending on the event, you're going to have recorded live or DJ?
Right.
Okay.
Broome County is 3 o'clock closing?
Not every day. Sorry. So the weekdays is 1 o'clock.
Right, I thought so.
Sorry about that.
All right. You have anything else?
No, no. I'll vote to approve. I think you have the business experience and the right attitude, and sounds like it could be a good place.
I'm going to vote to approve as well. The letters from the mayor and the Local Development Corporation also are encouraging us to approve it based on his business experience and the fact that Binghamton could use an establishment like this. So, good luck.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Huh?
You'll get a letter, and
I'll have a letter sent out tomorrow, meet the conditions, we'll issue the license.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
yeah,
Good luck.
If you're ever in that area, check our food out.
yeah, all right.
I just wrote down the name of your restaurant because you said barbecue, so next time I'm in town, I'll be there.
Next item is 1550 Atlantic Cafe, Inc.
Good morning, Francis Buscemi for the licensee. This is after hearing, I believe the ALJ dismissed the charge.
No, you're,
Atlantic Cafe?
yeah, this is a no contest default.
Oh. No contest, I'm sorry?
It was a default.
Oh, all right. Again, I'm standing in on this Atlantic.
That's what I was just going to say. We can blame that on your partner?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So it's a failure to conform to the application, a failure to display license. It's a no contest default.
He's in.
It was not, it was attempted delivery, and then a notice was left, and it was unclaimed.
Yeah, I don't know. He's in Alaska, and for some reason, I spoke to him on the phone the other day. He said this was dismissed after hearing, so that's all I know.
That was a case that was on July 12th.
Okay.
That was dismissed.
Oh, with the same licensee?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So they have no food, so I'm not going to bring you back for this, but make sure that they have food.
Yeah, I'll make notations here.
Yeah.
I guess, so this isn't even our case, then, it sounds like. This is on a default that we're not even on.
That's correct.
Okay, so let me take.
But he must have looked at the calendar and assumed it was the other one.
Exactly. All right, so I'll inform my partner when he's back. No food, this was?
Yeah, and then the license thing obviously is an obvious one.
And as long as you're here, Mr. Buscemi, there's more coming. So, I think one you may already have, and there may be a second one as well.
Okay.
2,000.
We'll take them one at a time. 2,000.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I know.
All right, Mr. Merrill will contact the client when he gets back and explain the food situation.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, the next one we have is 1584 and 1585, B&M Nachos Corp.
This is after hearing. I pulled the agenda sheet. It indicates that there was no controversion received, and I did send a controversion in a timely manner. Just very briefly, charge three.
We don't have it.
Yeah, I was emailed over to the hearing. So if I could just address very quickly.
Yes,
certainly.
What was in my controversion. All right, so look, some of these charges were dismissed. In one case, 114300, charges 3 and 5 were sustained. Charge 3 was failure to supervise the premises. And what I point out in my controversion is that that charge goes to what takes place on the premises itself. And what was complained of was 2 residents, one about a block away and the other about 2 blocks away, complained about students. I mean, this is not far from Hofstra University, and they're complaining, they're assuming that what's going by their houses and creating some issues for them. And I'm not saying that some of them might not be our patrons, but it's housing, it's Hofstra University housing throughout that entire area. I mean, there are literally dozens of, and we put in a map showing all of the student housing, off-campus.
Yeah, that we do have.
Student housing. And you have 2 residents. So what I point out in my controversion, the charge goes to failure to adequately supervise the premises itself. That charge goes to conduct on the premises, not a block or 2 away. And then in the other charge that was sustained.
Well, I don't think that was the only evidence indicating that there was a lack of supervision, but, I mean, there's also the
Bloody clothes.
And
I'm sorry.
There's the noise, that's obviously coming from them. I mean, that's a lack of supervision, isn't it?
The noise, again, I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Well, the one, it was sustained, it was a noise, charge 5. Noise nuisance. That's not just based on the neighborhood activity, that's based on activity also that occurred at the bar.
But again, this is, well, no, and again, these are the two residents that testified, one being a block away, the other being about 2 blocks away. And that's referring to, I mean, that's a general charge, noise, disturbance, disorder. They're talking about not noise, they're talking about disturbances which are occurring by their houses, at their houses, or in front of their houses.
I mean, counsel.
I mean, we're talking about stabbings that occurred in August of last year at the premises?
No. That was dismissed. That charge is.
It was dismissed, but it occurred.
That outside after the premises had been closed.
But the event occurred.
That's the record. Oh, someone was seen and the video.
But you don't think there was noise associated with that?
No, this is something that took place away from the premises. Our video surveillance showed, which goes down the block. They have video surveillance showing going down the block. The video surveillance showed a group of people, after the premises was closed.
That were in the premise.
Coming down the block.
But they were in the premise and 2 of them were underage.
I don't know who's underage, but much earlier.
Well, I mean, you can argue that to another judge. I'm not. So I'm going to dismiss 1, dismiss 2, sustain 3, dismiss 4, sustain 5, and sustain number 1 in the second proceeding.
On the other one, I want to point out, if you didn't have my contravention, this is one patron that was cold-cocked. These were 2 guys that knew each other, that had a prior altercation somewhere else a month earlier, and saw each other by the bathroom. And one guy hit the other guy and ran out. So, I mean, I don't see where the suffering and permitting is there on that.
Is there adverse history? Did anyone indicate, or I asked you this yesterday, I see there's a sale to a minor on 9/15 that got a $7,500 fine.
Right.
Why was it $7,500?
Because there's the one.
There were 3 before that?
No, one undercover went around to all of the bars.
Oh, so there were 4 sales at one time.
Yeah, the same girl went around to all of the bars in the place.
I mean, given the testimony of the residents in the area and given the obvious to me lack of supervision of this place, I'm canceling and bonding. I mean, I think this is just I understand your argument is that there's Hofstra housing there, and I guess your argument is that there's keg parties going all over, and how do we attribute it to this place? But the residents were very clear that they do. So I'm going to. I think it's, I mean, based on what I've read, this appears to be a menace to me. So I'm canceling and bonding.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. People with bloody clothes, blood on the sidewalk, things like that. I'm for feel the same way, cancel and bond.
All right, the next item is 1635E, Brooklyn 1943, Inc.
This was put over from last board meeting, so I could speak to, you had suggested that the summary suspension remain in effect.
If you wanted a monetary penalty, because there's significant pending charges.
Let's see what happens with those.
I mean, because my point is, I understand the situation he's in, and I'll take, I'll take significant amount of money from her if she's willing to remain closed while the other charges are pending, and that money she's not getting back. But if any of those are sustained, the party's over. So I don't see the point in going forward and taking money from someone who's not going to have a license.
And that's why I spoke to my client, and the suggestion was that the summary suspension remain in effect. Let's finish off the other cases, which there are 3 cases that comprise a few charges combined, maybe 4 or 5 charges, I think.
But this is going to be fine. She's going to get a fine on this if that's the route she goes.
And let me just note for the record that she's currently facing charges that include sale during a suspended period.
Right, and we dispute that. We just,
so I'm not going to sustain those, but I obviously sustained a number of charges here, and she only has to lose one of those charges.
Again.
And what I want you to understand, she's going to get fined on this if you're going forward, and I'm going to take like $12,000 from her. Is that what she wants to do?
Mr. Chairman, I thought what we were doing was putting this over,
No.
seeing where the other cases.
No, I said I'd give you a monetary fine and leave the, and I think I was pretty clear about it. I'll leave the suspension in order and take a monetary fine, or I'll cancel now, given what she has coming. And we'll just get rid of those. And the fine is going to be significant, given, she's been open a year, and she got all these charges plus all this history. That's what she wants?
I don't know what she wants. I suggested that the other cases be held, that everything.
No, I'm not holding
go
this.
before.
I'm not holding this long, no. I mean, I was trying to save her money. If she doesn't want to save
And
money.
leave her on a summary suspension.
No, but what I'm saying is to save money would be to take the cancellation now. If you don't want the cancellation now, then I'm fining you, but the summary suspension has to remain in effect. If you're going to argue with me over that, then I'll just cancel. You have two choices: pay 12 or take a cancellation.
All right, so if I say fine, then the alternative on the agenda is going to be cancellation if it's not paid. Correct?
No,
I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer because
Well, you were
that's not
supposed
what
to
I
come
proposed.
back with the
Well, I
answer.
misunderstood what we were talking about.
Well, can you go call her?
I don't have her number. I could get her number and call her. I don't know that she's going to
Well-
quite understand what I'm telling her
How
on
long
the
does
phone.
it take? 6 weeks to get the fine?
They usually are given about a month.
All right, so I'm going to
before
fine,
the-
I'll institute the fine.
Yeah.
The summary suspension remains in effect.
So the
August
summary
10th are the
suspension
hearings.
is going to be then in effect for the other charges,
As well as, yes.
because this has been.
No, he's going to concede that the summary suspension is in effect.
Well, but that's not what I understood, number one. Number two, I don't know how you can fine her and leave the summary suspension in effect.
Because
on
you're going to
these
agree, you're
charges.
going to agree to it. If you don't want to agree to it, then we'll cancel it today. I'm giving you a chance to try the other charges. If you don't want to charge it, we can end it here. Because she's been open, this is March. She was open in July of 2016. This all occurred in March of 17. She's not even open a year. And there was some serious stuff here.
Patron was shot.
I got that. Look,
So then that's just.
the only thing that I would ask is
That's
that
just cancel and
we
bond.
have
I mean,
hearings.
you understand what I'm trying to do. You
Yes,
fully-
I understand, and that's fine.
So
And
we'll
the only
cancel
thing
and
that I'm-
bond.
Now the fine's gone?
Yeah, because
Why?
you got to concede the suspension remains in
All
effect.
right, and that's what I'm discussing with you. And all I'm asking for is that we have the hearing scheduled for August.
Well, I don't know. That's up to him.
We have the hearings are scheduled.
Okay.
Just hear me out, please. The hearings are scheduled for August 10th. The only thing I'm asking for is that the that this proceeds quickly and that the hearing bureau is advised to please issue a fast
I will
ruling.
advise.
Issue a fast, so we're not waiting 30 or 40 days to get the ruling, and then we get it done with one way or the other.
Okay, I will advise. And so 12,000, the summary suspension remains in effect, and the hearings are to go as scheduled. Assuming Commissioner Ford agrees with that. We already sustained all the charges, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 11, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And I guess just for simplicity, we would then transfer the summary onto case 119280.
Well, that's what I was.
Yes.
That's not what they're doing, though. You can put it on. I don't care, but that's what I was
All
saying.
right,
I don't know-
do that, just for
Yeah,
paperwork, it's for
right.
paperwork
Well, yeah.
purposes.
You know, that makes sense then.
Okay. Are you okay with that?
So we're going to see you again on what, August 16th?
No, we won't see him again until
No.
the other charges are done. They haven't been heard yet
We're
by
going to
the
hearing on
ALJ.
August
August
10th.
10th.
I'm hoping for a fast decision, and then
So maybe on August 30th then.
I'm asking the
done
Secretary's
in
office
time.
to get it up to the board quickly, and
Well, no, I'll make sure that once the hearings are done, that happens
Yeah, thank
quickly.
I agree to that, too.
I guess I should have just gone with my first cut on this. I think I just complicated it for everybody.
I think I'll hang on to this.
All right,
All right,
next.
the next item, 1540 Citrine Lounge LLC.
this is a CNC offer of $6,000.
We have food now?
Yeah, I want to point out, I gave you the.
Yes, I have
This was
pictures
a
of it.
corporate change, some time ago, but it was a corporate change where the business was purchased via corporate change. I showed you the menu, the food prep area. With regard to the health department permit, they had a health department permit. It lapsed. It was in renewal. The charge is for 6/12, and the issue date on the renewed permit was 6/22, so it came soon after.
So everything's all correct, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
I'll accept.
I'll accept as well.
Next item is 1580, Legacy Wine and Liquor Corp.
This is after hearing on a one sale to minor charge. I believe, yeah. There's no adverse history on this.
No, I'm just wondering why they would even bother
What?
going to hearing here.
Well, the issue for us was, and my client really, she wanted to go to hearing. She was really concerned. The report from the police indicated that let's see if I have it with me, indicated that the name of the place, and they gave the name of the place of the prior licensee. Long before this date, the date in question, the signage,
so she thought it was somebody else.
The signage at the
Okay.
store was changed to
All
Legacy.
right, so they had a
showed
typo, yeah.
We showed the signage as Legacy, but the police report, whatever, CA Liquor. And
Okay.
CA Liquor just didn't exist, and the police were saying, well, that was on the sign, CA Liquor. And my client is saying, no, here's the receipt. I have a whole brand-new
Okay.
sign prior to that sale to minor violation, which shows that the signage reads Legacy. It didn't read CA.
Okay, 3,500.
3,500.
Does he ever stand up for you? I see a lot of these are his cases.
Oh, that's my case.
No, I know that one was, but the next one is his.
1526, Liberty Springs.
I don't see him coming in standing up for you.
He's on vacation too often.
I think he is.
So he leaves me. He's traveling Alaska, and here I am.
Yeah. I'll accept. It's all fixed, I take it?
Mr. Mailer says all corrected, right?
We have a letter from him that
That's
says
what he
that,
says.
Yes.
I'm not going to speak to that.
He's your
It's his
partner, so-
problem.
all right.
I'll accept.
Accept.
I think that's it for me.
That's it, I think, for you.
1588, Mora's LLC. '88.
Morning, Tony D'Aiuto, appearing on behalf of Morars LLC. I'm here with one of the principals, Syria Morselli. This originally was an application for a change of class from restaurant beer and wine to on-premises. We were before the community board, I believe, in January. During the presentation, none of the community board members objected until a member of the audience got up and objected to this, as well as every other application that night. But she came up with this crazy doomsday scenario as her justification for why she objected to an on-premises license. She basically was afraid that this would turn into a nightclub with millennials spilling out into the street, drinking, behaving in a way that's rowdy, and then eventually this licensee would take over the restaurant to the left and the restaurant to the right. I mean, a crazy scenario that could never happen.
You only hold 31 people.
Yes, precisely, number one. Number two, the demographic clientele is a much older demographic. If I submitted a menu when we were here before the ALJ, and the price point is high, the wines are high, the place is small and intimate.
But so let me ask you, you've only been around for how long?
Just over a year.
So why did you apply for an OP the first time?
No, it was a transfer. It was a purchase. So the transfer, the original licensee had a wine bar restaurant. So we transferred the license, continued with the license. The problem was, the purchase price was a bit high, and so they were waiting to have some revenue before they could apply for the OP. The $4,500 fee was right after the holiday season. I think we applied in January. So they're trying to recoup some of the money, and then they made the application in January. To be honest with you, I would never have imagined in my wildest dreams that there would be an objection from someone that lives a couple blocks away. To
Well, I
this.
mean, I'm not saying there wasn't an objection, but I haven't seen a community board react to one person like you're saying.
I have never seen one person react that way ever. I mean,
And they did vote unanimously.
Right, which was a shock.
Which I think they usually do.
Yeah, well, it was a shock to us because, like I said, there was no community board member objection while we presented. And then when we left, I had called the board a couple of weeks later to find out, and they said, yes, it was a unanimous rejection. And I'm shocked, to be honest with you.
Do we even have a resolution from them?
It's in here. It's dated February 28th. And it's just indicating that they don't find that there was, the public interest wasn't met to have a full OP. technically paragraph.
What's above you?
The 3 apartments. To the above are 3 apartments or 4 apartments? 4 floors, 4 apartments. To the left is like a hotel, a small hotel. To the right, immediately to the right, is the hallway going to the building, and then after that, there's a Japanese restaurant. Across the street, there's a big development that opened a few years back.
Japanese restaurant have a full on-premises license?
I believe they do. They have full liquor, the Japanese restaurant? Actually,
I don't think so. I think
just
I'm
beer.
not
And, you know what? They do, yes. Yeah, they do.
Do the people that are in the building sign your petition?
Yes. People in the building, people across the street, just about everyone on the block. The hotel owner to the left.
And this is so the individual that you're saying stood up at the meeting was the representative from the NoHo Bowery stakeholders?
She didn't say that she was. She was, as far as I knew, she lived a few blocks away on Great Jones.
I think that's probably a requirement of being part of that group.
Yeah, she may have been. I don't remember if she said that she was part of the group or not. I do remember that she lived on Great Jones and that she objected to every application that night.
They usually do.
Like I said, it's a tiny place.
What kind of food is it?
It's higher end Italian, Northern Italian. There are 3 partners. 2 of the partners, including Syria to my right, have restaurants in Italy. They were successful there. She ran a restaurant in Tribeca for 5 years. And
What restaurant?
Da Michele on Church
What's
Street.
it called?
Da Michele. And she decided to go out on her own. She borrowed money from her family to get this going, and part of the economics included a liquor license. Unfortunately, everything's going up. Rents now, minimum wage, and to not have a liquor license on a very competitive block is very detrimental.
What are the hours?
During the week, they close at 11, Friday, Saturday, 12, Sunday, 10. They're open for lunch during the week and brunch on Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
Who is this letter in support for East Fourth Corp?
Landlord.
The landlord, I believe, yeah. Alistair?
Yes, Alistair.
Yeah, that's the landlord.
Okay.
And the previous licensee was there, I think, for 11 or 12 years without any issue. Like I said, it was another Italian restaurant, wine bar. It was a heavy emphasis on different wines.
Yeah.
They've changed the decor a little bit to make it a little bit more modern. And as you can see, the menu, the price point's a little higher. They're not attracting millennials. They're not attracting the drinking crowd. I mean, this is a more refined experience. Adding the liquor as an aperitivo or digestivo just rounds out the experience. They're not looking to do shots, sell shots, and so on.
How long does an average meal take there?
The average meal is
Long.
unfortunately long. People tend to linger. I mean, I've been there many, many times as a customer myself.
It's an Italian restaurant. People linger. Yeah.
Well, you have Italian with pizza, people are in and out, and you have a fine dining with the tablecloth and cloth napkins, and people tend to linger. So this is of the second category.
All right. Anything else here, Chairman? I think with 9 tables of 25 seats, that's, like I said, 31 people by my count. We get 470 square feet of patron space.
The place is tiny. The bar, I mean, I have pictures of the bar. I don't remember if I submitted them to the ALJ, but the bar is tiny. It's not a place that is looking to attract.
I think it would be in.
You all right, Donald?
Okay. Public convenience and advantage would be served by having a full on-premises license there, so I vote to approve.
I'm going to vote to approve as well. It is a 500-foot case. But all the factors that we're supposed to look at, I don't see any of them being affected given the size of this restaurant. There is a petition here signed by a number of people between 10 and 20, I guess. And you indicate that the majority of the tenants of the building above you signed it as well as the landlord. They are serving a Northern Italian kind of food. It's a small, basically neighborhood restaurant of what appears to be higher-end Italian food. So I'll vote to approve. I think it is in the public interest for the neighborhood, even though there are a number of on-premise licenses within 500 feet. I don't think this one's going to affect the traffic, the noise, or anything else in that area. So I'll vote to approve. And the STIPs that you signed with the community board previously on the restaurant wine are still in effect.
Correct.
Which are contained in a letter from May 11th of 2016 from the community board?
Correct. They were talking about backyard seating. I mean, it's storage space.
Yeah, but it indicates the hours and
Hours, correct.
and the number of tables and patrons and
Correct.
So those are all still in effect and are incorporated into the license.
Right. Thank you much.
Good luck.
Take care.
All right, the next item is 1513, Chaos One, Inc.
Good morning, board members, chairman. This is Xiang'an Gang, from Law Office of Lucy Shi, the attorney of the record who filed the application with Liquor Authority. And standing next to me is the principal, Mr. Sang Thor Chung, the applicant for this application.
Okay, we have opposition here, so can we hear from them first? Both of you come up. You can talk right after him. I'm just trying to save time. Go ahead, sir.
Hi, I'm the principal for the Figueres Wine Liquor, and
which one?
Figueres Wine Liquor.
What's your address?
120 East Main Street, Smithtown.
120 East Main Street?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
And I just purchased the store like 3 months ago, and I checked the monthly sales is it's decreased compared to the last year, and our bigger competitor is the one guy, and they have a 6,000 fee, and they always sell the the cost price. So I don't think there's if there's a new liquor store coming in the community, it's gonna be help us, and yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning, members.
Good morning.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. My name is Angadeep Lamba. I'm the principal for Prime Wine and Liquor. I know last time we were here it was adjourned because their attorney was not present. One of the other store owners was here at the time. His grandmother was in the hospital, so I don't have further notice, but he did tell me he was planning on being here today.
Which store was that?
That was Main Street Liquors, SHIMC Corp.
Okay.
And he's not here today, so I just wanted you to...
So you're the closest store and he was the second closest?
Correct.
Okay.
I want to start by saying that I protest this store for a number of reasons. There are already 3 stores in Kings Park. This would be the 4th closest liquor store, or the 4th liquor store in Kings Park. All the stores in the town adequately meet public advantage. In fact, another store that would be coming into town has severe opposition from the community and from, of course, the current liquor stores. There's no new population growth in town. I attached that with my protest. In fact, there was a decline in the last decade. The proposed liquor store is to be located in a residential sector of town. I attached a map. I know it was black and white when we sent it in to you because of the email, but I do have a colored map I can submit to you now that might make it easier to decipher the area. And all the residents have complained about having this store open up in the community. The major concern about the store is because of the way it's located, it's actually about half a mile from the nearest high school. And because of the way it's located in the driving community, that distance is only about 30 seconds by car. There's already a very significant issue with fake IDs in town. I can attest to that because we take that very seriously. I know the board takes it very seriously. There's a lot of underage drinking, and I have personally made it a standard to make sure we confiscate all those IDs. I have proof on my cell phone. Till date, we have confiscated 51 IDs since I wrote the letter. And until my last hearing, which was a month ago, since then, we have confiscated another 2 IDs. People keep
Confiscated 51 IDs since April 10th?
No. Till date, we've opened, so it's been 3 years.
Since you opened. I
So-
thought since you wrote the letter.
No. Since we wrote the letter, I think there were about 7 or 8, but since the last hearing, there have been 2 additional. I could show you how we take them, we file them.
No, I believe it.
And it's a serious concern. And the fact that they're going to be located right next to the high school is another serious concern.
Well, how far are you from the high school?
Yeah, that's it.
I'm actually not closer. I'm in a business district of the town. You can Google it by the map. I have...
Which store are you again? I'm sorry.
Fine Wine and Liquor.
Okay, yeah.
And I am actually located next to about 20 other businesses.
But you seem to be doing fine.
I am doing fine
I know
because-
as far as catching the underage people, what makes you think he wouldn't?
Well, let's ask him. What do you think he's going to do to catch him?
I will ask him. I'm just, a half a mile when you're even probably as close or closer, I don't understand your argument there, but go
Well, my
ahead.
argument is that I live in the community. No other store does this. I can show you how I document all the IDs. They're very sincere, and I actually make an effort to make sure I catch them. There's a lot of complex questions we ask. We know we can
Well,
take them.
everybody should be making an effort to make sure they're not selling to underage people.
Correct,
I
and
think
I
that
fully
goes
agree.
without saying.
But they don't, and that's what my concern is, that they're not going to do that because their business and the way it's located is between the wine guy, who is a Mammoth store, and me, and some other stores. And the fact that there's 2 out of the 3 liquor stores out of there right now are in declining sales.
Yes.
So him coming into that neighborhood, I know I'm going to start declining. So that's going to be 3 out of 4 declining.
Has it ever occurred to you that those other stores are declining because of your store?
Absolutely.
Which just opened?
I agree fully. But it is because, again, I came in.
That, for future reference, is your best argument.
Okay.
So stick with that.
Okay. So that is because I live in the community. People know me. They understand how I do business. I try to be competitive with the prices, even though it's very tough because of Wine Guy. And I have good customer service. So I'm still depending on that. But I know having that store there is not going to add anything to the community. I actually have over here so this is all the IDs, not IDs, the signatures I can give to you.
I think we have them from the fire department thing. Correct. So why, can you explain to me what the fire department's interest in a liquor store is?
Well, they don't have an interest in it. They have an interest in the community. I'm friendly with all members of the fire department because, again, I am involved with the community. And they are terrified of the fact that there's a liquor store coming in that neighborhood, especially in that sector of town.
But we're talking about, all right, I'm not going to get into this. It's
What store is yours?
I think
the fifth closest. A&J 999. Okay, anything else?
All right.
Yes. Up until the last hearing date, they didn't have a sign posted as to, the notice sign that we have to put up when we apply. They just posted it last week, I'm assuming, because I went there this morning before I came here, and a sign was up. Last hearing date, I have evidence they did not post that sign. So people who actually live in that area did not have a way of communicating. So they came to me, they said...
Well, then how did the fire department find out?
I told them.
Well, how did you find out? Oh, because you got the letter?
I live there every day. I mean, I go past this area.
Okay, anything else?
Yes. And actually, there's a group on Facebook that's controlled by Kings Park Moms. And we found this out last week also, that they found out about this. And actually, there's severe opposition internally with them also. They don't know that.
They should have submitted something. I'm not going to let you talk about what some Facebook site says, so go on.
Okay. Well, my major concern was, again, that there is declining sales. I understand it's because of me, but having another store there is just going to hurt everybody equally. And also, Mr. Chung, also with his wife, has another liquor store in different sections.
We are aware of that.
And I know that they...
Which is not illegal, by the way.
It's not illegal, but the way the business is structured over there, because being next to Wine Guy, I am terrified. I don't have another store. None of my family members have another store. I don't plan on doing anything illegal. But the way the business environment is, and how competitive it is, and how they're going to be next to Wine Guy, and how their prices are, I am convinced there's going to be issues coming up. And I don't want to be a part of that because it puts everybody else at an unfair advantage.
That's true. All right, thank you.
You do realize the Main Street Liquors is probably closer to the high school than this applicant is going to be. They're just right on the other side of it.
It's not. I guarantee you they're not.
I'm looking at a map right now. It's right on the other side of the high school.
No, I could show you the map. Here.
He's got it on the iPad. He's looking on the satellite.
I'm looking at it right now.
But go ahead. That's not that,
No,
but that's not persuasive to me anyway, so it doesn't matter.
I don't know. Look, this is the high school.
Right.
That's the proposed liquor store. They're on the other side of the intersection.
They're right there. There's the high school. They're right there.
No, that's wrong. Their store is located on this side. That's my store right there.
He's not saying your store, he's saying the.
Yeah, Main Street's not located there. That's wrong.
Okay, thank you.
They're located on that side of the street.
I mean, there's a law that says how far away from a school it has to be, and they're not even near that, so I'm not even, that's not really relevant to me.
It's because of the driving distance.
I get that.
And it's because of the residential side. And I know you get that, but I appreciate you giving me the time.
All right, thank you. Go ahead, sir.
As he correctly pointed out, there are only 3 liquor stores, existing liquor stores in Kings.
So then, so let me point out or ask you this question: what's the population in Kings Park? Has it gone up, down, stable?
Yes, according to my my client's business plan, it's around. Let me see. The population of the village is around, I think somewhere. Is around 17,000.
And how many, has it gone up over the last 5 years, down, stable?
There's no significant increase.
Okay. What is your client doing differently that these 2 gentlemen aren't doing?
So basically, there are only 3 stores in downtown Kings Park. So if our license can be approved, and that's going to be the only liquor store on the west side of Kings Park, I think.
Well, how big is the town?
It's not too big, but the gentleman keeps saying his sales already decreased even before this license is approved. So I think that's caused by the competition between and among their stores. Because as the Google Map and the LAMP proximity report I sent to the board before this meeting, those 3 stores are really close to each other. The one on 88 Main Street.
But everybody drives in this area, right?
Yes.
This isn't a walking community.
It's not a walking
so
community.
1.4 miles in a car is.
It's nothing in not
2 minutes?
Maybe 5 minutes, but the liquor store next.
So as I'm going to go back to my last question, what's he doing differently that they're not doing now?
I think the public
anything.
convenience is going to be an important factor, and my client.
The distance isn't public convenience. I'm just going to stop you there. The distance is 1.4 miles. Everybody drives. That's no convenience. So what's he doing differently in his method of operation that they're not doing?
My client went to the neighborhood and talked to a lot of people. They welcome to the idea there's a new liquor store in this area because it's right off the streets. There are plenty of parking. There's going to be no negative impact on the parking compared to their store.
So the answer to my question is he's not doing anything differently internally that they're not doing already. Not carrying any different products, not doing any type of different services that it's going to be a traditional liquor store, correct?
Mr. Chung has some comments.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner. I'll do something different. I'll do wine tasting, that's for sure, for the past. Yep.
I'll get to you. You'll get a chance to answer if I think that I need you. Go ahead.
For the past few years' experiences, taught me a lesson. Do wine tasting is very important to sell some new wine. That's the main thing I will do, and I will make some advertisements on the local newspapers and magazine.
Why suddenly did you decide to get a liquor store after you worked for your wife for
I'm trying to live in that
5
town
years or
because
4 years? You what?
There's a lot of drug activities in the area there, so.
Well,
it's not
she's
safe.
still. So you left her alone there? That's the.
I have a helper helping me.
Dear Chairman, I think they do have a plan. They already put a newspaper advertisement to sell the other store owned by his wife. And his wife is the sole owner of that business. And I have the newspaper published.
No, I don't care. That doesn't matter because they're allowed to own 2. I'm just asking why you left. So that's why you left, because you want to sell your wife wants to sell that business. Okay.
Yeah, we have this, but I didn't receive this.
No, I don't. And what about the notice? Did the notice go up?
Yes. Actually, as a matter of fact, the license examiner sent us an email, a deficiency email. We already sent the picture showing that required notice posted on the window a long time ago.
Okay.
So that issue was addressed.
Yeah, and they usually do address it. Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Do you have any Go ahead.
I went down to my new store a few times, and I ran into the local residents, and they're happy to see me there. They asked me, when you gonna move in there? Because the store has been empty for so long. They say the empty store is bad.
I'm sure that's true.
They say the empty store around the corner is bad for the neighbor.
But that's not the only thing we need to look at.
Yeah, and they say there were like over 500 houses down there, and there's no one liquor store down there.
Okay,
All right.
thank you. Anything else?
That will be it.
Okay, thank you.
Ready to vote?
Yes. And I guess just before we do vote, the gentleman had mentioned that the owner of Main Street Liquors was planning on showing up, or he told him he's going to show up. We do have a letter from him objecting as well for basically the same reasons both of you have already stated.
It seems like Mainstream Liquors, their sales went down about the time that you went into business. And Family Discount Liquors, looks like their sales have not done very well at all. I'm not sure how they're even staying open. But we did issue another license in March of this year. There's been no significant growth in population. So I don't see the public convenience and advantage, and I'm going to vote to deny.
I'm going to vote to deny as well. The closest liquor store was opened in May of 2014, and its sales have gone up since it opened, but as Commissioner Ford pointed out, it clearly had a detrimental effect on the second and third closest stores to this location, whose sales both dropped significantly, which indicates to me that there is not a demand to add another liquor store at this time, given the numbers in the sales. Also, the population has remained stable. So I just don't see, and while he's certainly obviously would be a good applicant, just not at this place, given that he's only going to basically provide the same product and services that the liquor stores that are there already are providing. So I'm going to vote to deny. Thank you.
All right. The next item is 1608, Mamaroneck Smith LLC.
After this one, I need to take a break.
Okay.
Fix my hair and makeup.
Chairman, Commissioner, Mike Palutis here on behalf of the applicant Mamaroneck Smith LLC. I am joined today by Sarah Smith, the LLC's sole member.
Good morning, or after, were you morning still? Yes.
Still morning.
Go ahead.
So I have only limited information about why this application was pulled for full board review, but I suspect it's because of the prior operators.
You aware of the past history?
I am, yes.
Yeah.
I'm aware of the adverse history.
And no relation to them at all?
So there's none.
Well, let me ask you this before we get into that, since I was going to. Does she know Mark Hadnett? No. Do you know Ben Pryor? No. You have never met either person?
I now know Ben Pryor
When did you meet him?
after trying to negotiate.
How did you find this place?
So, Chairman, Ms. Smith lives 2 blocks away, and my understanding is that when it was open, she was visiting as a guest, and one of the staff members told her that the place was for sale. And so she started, she had been looking in White Plains, and so she inquired. And, I did attach a contract of sale to the application. That was a negotiated instrument. We negotiated that contract for several weeks, and it was somewhat adversarial. My understanding is that Ms. Smith did not know Mr. Pryor until those negotiations began, until she inquired about the business being for sale.
Did you represent the former guys?
I did not.
Okay.
In this transaction, I certainly did not.
No, I mean, have you ever represented Ben Pryor?
I have not.
Mark Hadnett?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me.
Well, no, I want to hear now what she planned on doing, because the problem that this place had, and I don't know if you're familiar with the history. Are you familiar with the history of this place since you were a customer?
I now know about history.
I mean, they had some seriously significant problems there.
Before we proceed, Chairman, I want to clarify. I met Ben Pryor 4 years ago in my office, but did not undertake to represent him. And that's all I can really say about that. But I will say that in the 4 years after that initial brief consultation, I had no contact with him.
Okay.
And so.
No, I was just asking, that's
Yeah,
not
no,
really
but I didn't wanna-
pertinent. Go ahead, what's she gonna do here?
So Ms. Smith is going to, she is changing both of the trade names. Avenue Social will operate as a restaurant primarily with local sourced foods. She intends to sell New York's, not exclusively, but she does want to source her inventory in New York State as much as she can. Stadium will be a sports bar, and in the interest of full disclosure, I will tell you now that assuming this application is approved, Ms. Smith will, upon taking possession of the premises and as assignment of the lease, she will be applying for a cabaret license with the city of White Plains.
Well, her application indicates no dancing.
That's why I know it's not in front of you, but I in the interest
Well,
of
I
full
mean,
disclosure,
the problem is that the application indicated in some cases no dancing, and in other places it indicated dancing.
initially the application was submitted with the method of operation to include dancing and live music. However, what we learned from the city of White Plains is that they would not entertain an application for a cabaret license until after Ms. Smith had taken an assignment of the premises, of the lease, which of course presents sort of a chicken and egg problem, because
No, it doesn't. You just say that we're gonna do dancing pending the license from the city.
I tried to do that, and licensing asked me to withdraw those items from the method
Do
of
we
operation.
ask that? Is that?
Which is what
I'd have to look to see what
Which
was.
is what I did. I
What was
asked.
sent with this.
Yeah,
All right,
I'm
well,
trying
go
to figure,
ahead.
where are you going to have the dancing? I'm looking at the floor plan. Where is that going to be introduced? Moving tables, things like that?
So we'll be moving the tables, exactly.
In which one of them?
And that would be in the new stadium side, as well as, the booths will stay, obviously. Those are booths and those are built in.
So you're gonna move the tables when? Like at 10 o'clock at night, you're gonna turn it into, it's not gonna be a restaurant anymore?
No, we'll be serving food until 2 p.m.
Well, where do the tables go?
The tables will go, we have an upstairs that used to be an old kitchen, and they'll be going up there.
I'll
I mean,
add-
here's my concern. You come in here and, she has some experience, but it's not even what is it, a year plus? She was a bartender, and it appears a hostess, and it might be a year and a couple months combined.
Chairman, let me address that, please. Ms. Smith was a manager and trainer for Cracker Barrel for 7 years. She opened stores in
Where or when?
prior to the pedigree that's called for in the personal questionnaire.
So what years?
She started working there at 20 years old. So that was, what year, Sarah?
Yes, I started working there 18 and then 6 years after that.
We do ask that their past 5 years also list any employment history that shows experience in the alcohol industry.
So
So just, it's
I
kind of,
apologize.
it is in there.
I apologize that was omitted, but Ms. Smith was,
So I mean, what I have is that you basically worked as a bartender at Cadillac Cantina in Hoboken for 2 years. I take back that I said 1 year, it's 2 years. And then 3 months as a hostess at a level 42, which is in White Plains.
I was not a hostess, I was a captain.
Oh, I don't know, what's the difference?
Captain is a manager.
Okay.
He's the one who runs the entire show.
Okay.
Can I ask you to come up, show me this place, because I'm looking at it, I'm trying to picture it.
looks like, Sarah, is this? I think it's got the pin. I think it has the pin. That's the correct address, but I believe there's the pin. So what maybe spin it all the way around. Let's see. Yeah. Right, Sarah, are these? Here, let me give you
street. And I've looked at that several times. That's inside. I call it stadium, I'm just looking at it. I don't see anything that looks to me like.
Well, they have pictures in the app, too. Oh, you want to see the outside? Oh, okay. Here's the outside right here, Tom.
Yes.
Yeah. And you can get, okay. What are the hours?
So it's a 4 o'clock license. The application's for a 4 o'clock license, Chairman. And the intention here is to be open for lunch and dinner and really, truly focus on those trades. Which it's my understanding that the prior licensee was just not doing.
See, you keep saying that as far as the trades and local food and this and that, but then she wants to move the tables and have dancing. The method of operation presented here is identical to the one that we shut.
I understand.
Regardless of what you say, what you have on the application is DJ, live music, dancing. I don't see that as a restaurant. That's not as somebody who's a serious restaurateur to me.
Chairman, I would.
And certainly I don't go to many restaurants that are open till 4 a.m.
Chairman, the menus, one of the menus needs to be updated because it is a.
I'm not talking about the menus. I'm talking about all the extraneous things that restaurants don't have.
What I would suggest, Chairman, is just that that Mamaroneck Avenue in White Plains, if you look at what Hudson Grill is doing across the street, it is precisely the same method of operation. They have.
It probably is, but they didn't get canceled for it.
I appreciate that. I do.
So I'm not saying I would never license somebody that wants to do this. I'm saying that we have someone here whose license indicates that she was a manager for several months, taking her description, and then a bartender for 2 years. And if it was a non-problematic location with that small level of experience, I probably would have no concerns. But we have a place that was it's a big place, and it was extremely problematic.
It's been problematic, even the prior one licensed before this. There's sale to minor violations. The place is known for this kind of conduct.
It's been a menace, basically, for 2 owners.
I understand and appreciate.
Well, so here's the question I have is, if you're going to have a place that was a menace for the 2 separate owners, and then you're going to rent it or buy it or whatever she's doing, and you decide I'm going to run the same exact show that they did, what leads you to believe that it's not going to be a menace again? Because everything she plans on doing is exactly the same.
So my understanding is that the prior operator was going to the extent of passing out flyers at the Pace University campus, Chairman. I think that I believe, and I'm not here to disparage the prior licensee. I am not.
But he disparaged himself.
Right, I know, but I believe that what they were doing was targeting, a demographic that Ms. Smith just will not be, and Hudson Grill does not. And I think there is a market for it in White Plains. You have a lot of professionals, and it is, Ms. Smith does not intend to go after and try to attract that group of customer. She just.
But see, her method of operation indicates otherwise.
I brought this up. I raised this because I said in the interest of full disclosure, we wanted to discuss it. We're being perfectly transparent about this. The application, we withdrew those portions of the method of operation because licensing said that they couldn't issue the license pending the city's issuance of the cabaret, so we withdrew them. But what I did not want to do was have this conversation today and then in 3 months or 4 months file an application to change this licensee's method of operation and come back and
You wouldn't have got it.
And that's why we're having the conversation, and that's why.
But more than likely, you're not going to get it today, is what I'm telling you. I have a certain level of remorse about that because I do want to give you an opportunity. But what she wants to run here is not what I'm willing to do. It's this method of operation, this place has been a problem for White Plains for years. And it's not, as we said, just the last owner, it's also the owner before that. And just because you change the colors doesn't mean anything's going to change. You know, they may have been handing out pamphlets, that might be the case. But the bottom line is that when you start moving tables around and you put DJs into a restaurant, you're not a restaurant anymore. You're a nightclub. And if, you know, you're telling me she's not going to try to draw the students, but what happens when she's open for 6 months and she sees her restaurant's half full and the guy down the street is drawing the students? Then suddenly she is going to try to draw the students because you need the revenue. So, I mean, I do want to give you a chance, but you have to come back with a real restaurant plan, and this is not a real restaurant, in my view. This is a restaurant/club. And, you know, a restaurant to me, if you did manage, what was the chain stores?
She managed a Cracker Barrel.
If you did do that, then that should be on here. And you should come back with a method of operation that says, you know what, I want to close at 12 o'clock because we're a real restaurant and we're going to serve lunch and we're going to serve dinner, but I don't want a DJ. I just want recorded music. I don't want live music. You know, that if you want to be a serious restaurant and try to change what this place has been, then that's how you do it. You don't just reopen it and with new paint. So I'm going to vote to deny based on, you know, given what's on the application, I don't think she has the experience to take on what this method of operation entails with the past history of the location.
The anticipated method of operation, not what's in the application presently, but what we've agreed we would be back to ask for permission to do.
Well, you have to, you know, obviously I'm encouraging her to apply in a different way, but I'm still denying it based on what's on this application.
Would the board be willing to?
No, I'm not amending. We're going to start over again because there's too many inconsistencies in here about the dancing and things of that nature. And plus her experience, you know, she can tell me what her experience is with Cracker Barrel, but until it's on this paper, it's not really official. So it should be on the application. She should reapply and start over again if she wants to do that. And I think then we have something to talk about.
Assuming a method of operation that does not include the dancing.
No, it's not just the dancing. It's moving tables. It's the DJ. It's you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's restaurants and then there's restaurants/clubs. And White Plains has a number of restaurants/clubs. The problem with this one is it was an enormous problem for several years. And I'm not just going to recreate that problem. And that's what I think I'm doing here.
I don't really see anything that's substantially different on paper from what it was before either, so I'm going to vote deny as well and encourage you to reapply.
Thank you, Chairman.
All right.
Did you want to take
just
a break, Commissioner?
Pause, yeah.
Yeah, can we take
All right,
5 minutes?
take a brief recess. Hey, Donald. We're set, okay. We're going to resume the meeting. The next item is 1599, Shin Shang Trading, Inc.
Timothy Allenwick for the licensee. Good morning, it's morning.
Morning, Mr. Allen.
So. This was a.
Morning, yeah, I'll,
Payment, and the check.
and we have the check, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll accept reconsideration and accept the check. Or grant reconsideration and accept the check.
Ditto.
Thank you.
Next item is 1564, Kate Puff Cafe, Inc. Mr. Allen, you have another one right after this.
Hi.
Hi, so what happened?
To be honest, I just got the day before yesterday an email from the person who was applying for my license, and he said I have 2 violations.
Yeah,
I was a little bit surprised what they came from. I'm 7 days a week in the establishment. I don't know where they came from. So,
well,
and,
I'll tell you where. On April,
send me the copy of it.
oh, okay, so you saw it. So the police went in at 2:30 a.m.
You know what happened? When they came, they gave violation to my husband and to his name, and he was in the court yesterday. They gave him a court date till tomorrow, actually yesterday at 9 a.m., and he was, and they didn't make it dismissed.
And
So
they dismissed it, or they didn't?
Yeah, they dismissed it. I took all those papers. And they didn't put like a business name, they put just his first and last.
Well, I mean, what happens is because that happened, they then write these violations. No, but they're different, is what I'm saying. The police do their own thing, we do our own thing.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
They give violations because I didn't get the CPR kit signed.
Okay,
But you had the CPR kit there.
Yes, we do have. I never got any violations from health department. I'm in this place for a couple years. We have CPR, but I didn't get exactly the sign.
all right, I'll give you $200.
Okay.
200.
And that's
So
it.
you'll get a letter.
Okay, thank you so much.
Make sure you read this one, though, because the last one you missed.
All right, the next item is 1586, Delhi City LP.
Timothy Allenwick for the licensee. So my office didn't catch that this was on today. I'd like to put it over if possible. It's after a hearing. It's an availing. I'd like the owner to be here.
Okay.
Yep.
826?
816.
16, I'm sorry.
Come here there. Thank you.
You got it.
Are you here on something? Ladies, are you? Okay. I don't have anything else signed in.
You're observing for fun?
That's sad.
Well, hopefully we will be in front of you at one point where we wanted to see it.
Smart. Very impressive. That's why I asked.
Mr. Palillo's watching from the hospital, and we have people showing up just to watch.
We're also here for fun.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And in the back? From where?
Oh.
You don't want to give their name? Oh, okay, well, yeah, I hope it was interesting.
You ready to proceed with the rest of the calendar then?
You're welcome to watch the rest, but it's just us running through enforcement stuff, so.
All right. The next item is 1514.
Accept.
Accept.
1515.
Accept.
Accept, 3,000 accept.
1516.
Accept.
Accept letter of warning.
1517 and 1518.
Counter 7,000.
I had here, I thought 5,000 was low too, so 7,000?
Okay. 1519.
Accept.
Accept.
1520.
I'll accept. Did they file the alteration application? I saw that this was all in the paper up where I live.
Not the last time I looked.
Okay, I'll accept.
Accept.
1521.
I'll accept.
Accept.
1522.
Accept.
Accept, 250.
1523.
I'll accept.
Okay to renew?
Yes. There was no intent there.
3,000, accept.
1524.
Accept.
Accept.
1525.
License expired.
Well, there's pending, renewal pending.
So my question was, why did we counter with 10,000 given the history here? Did something drop off? You guys remember?
Hang on.
Because all he has is,
We're talking 1525?
yeah. Back in the, they made a CNC
Yes,
offer.
There was more.
Yeah, there was some, they had a history.
So now it's off the, why did it fall off the date?
I think it was on the agenda item originally, and that might, and by taking it off.
All right, then I'll fine 10,000. Which is what we offered him.
Is it 10,000 plus the bond claim, or just because it's expired now?
No,
Well,
just-
I'm assuming it's expired, but they're gonna renew, or do we not know, Jackie?
Well, it's up to you. What do you want to do? It's pending.
Yeah, the renew's pending, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're gonna renew once this is over.
Okay, 10,000.
1527.
Except, I'm sorry, counter at 1,500, given the prior history.
1,500.
Yeah. That other one, it was their, like, going back, it was their fourth sale from
Okay.
2010.
Gotcha, thank you.
Their last sale.
1528.
Except.
3,500, accept.
1529.
I think you asked me to put this one up to the full board. Their,
All right, so this
method
place,
of op.
yeah, no, this is, did they file for a new method of op?
Yeah,
It's coming here?
I think, hang on to, or the alteration.
They filed two applications, the
Two,
endorsement changed the method of operation.
Yes, I see that. And they're both coming here, Jackie? Because this place signed up as something and then turned into something completely different. We
Yeah, I
really should
believe
cancel it.
so.
Because this is Roosevelt Avenue, which is causing a great deal of.
Yeah, I'll have it sent if you want it sent.
Yes.
Unless you want.
Both,
yeah,
no, both of them.
Both.
All right, I'll accept, as long as they're both coming here.
15,000, accept.
1530.
5,000, because of the bad history.
Doesn't say how many.
Well, they're going to expire this week. I don't have a renewal as of yet. I'm not sure who checked.
We have two $10,000 fines previously already.
Good Lord, where's these programs?
This is a default.
They've paid 23,000 so far.
Yeah, you're right. All right, 10,000, given their past history, and it's a repeat offense.
And if they do file a renewal, you don't have a problem with that?
No.
And you're okay with the 10,000, Commissioner?
Yes.
Okay. 1531 and 1546.
I'll accept.
Accept.
1532.
Accept.
Accept.
1532.
1532 is ALJ.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Should be 3,000, shouldn't it?
Yes, sustained charge 1, 3,000.
1533.
I'll accept only because two of the sales were or 3 of the sales were simultaneous. The next one is probably over.
So 9,000 accept on?
Yes.
1533? Okay.
1535.
3,000 accept.
3,000 accept, yep.
1536 and 37 have been adjourned to 913. 1538.
Hold on, 913?
Yes.
Okay. 1538 accept.
Accept, 1250.
1539.
2,500.
Been license issued since 1998, none since 2007. I thought this looked to me like an isolated incident. 1539, right?
Yes.
Okay. Give me a number.
500?
500.
1541.
Accept.
Accept.
1542 and 1543.
I'll accept.
1250 accept.
Reluctantly.
1544.
I'll accept.
250 accept.
Fencing.
1545.
100. Is this the max is 100, right?
Yes.
I'll take 100.
100.
1547.
Cancel.
Cancel, no bond.
Cancel, no bond.
1548.
Accept.
6,000 accept.
1549.
5,000.
5,000.
1551.
Accept.
Accept.
1552.
2,500.
2,500.
1553.
Counter 6,000. I don't know why we offered. Is there a reason?
Not that I'm aware of.
Sale to minor.
I mean, if she has one, I'm willing to listen to it, but otherwise counter at 6,000.
6,000. Counter.
1554.
Sustained charge 1, cancel and bond.
We still don't have a check from them, okay? Cancel and bond.
We're going to get one shortly.
1555.
5,000.
5,000.
1556.
5,000. I'm actually going to counter, revoke, and bond with a 2-year prescription on the location. I mean, there were crimes committed here.
So for 2 years, that means no one can apply for it?
And, yeah.
All right.
And you're on board with that,
Yes,
Commissioner?
yes, I'm sorry.
That's right, 1557.
We've canceled this for the record multiple times before, so I would just do the same here.
All right, sustain all the charges and cancel for the record.
What about the bond claim?
We already got it.
Gone.
Like long gone.
Okay.
1558.
Accept.
Accept.
1559.
I'm counter a cancel and bond. They executed multiple search warrants at this place for the same thing, which is running a numbers game. And they got caught once and kept doing it. So counter a cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
1560.
Accept.
Accept.
1561.
Letter of warning. Yep. $4.30.
Yeah, letter of warning.
1562.
Accept.
Accept.
1565 and 1566.
Well, this is right down the street from the one we just denied, isn't it? Bring them in. Because are they allowed to have live music? Jackie?
I'm looking. If I knew it off the top of my head, I'd scare
No,
myself.
I didn't think you. I think that we'd have a big problem if you knew that off the top of your head.
I mean, you've been doing this too long.
Licensed patio recorded music.
Well, they had a live entertainer on the second floor.
And so we're going over to 816. 1567.
Accept.
Accept. 2,000 accept.
1568.
Accept.
500 accept.
1569 and 70 are adjourned until 816. Excuse me.
816?
816.
Is that Palillo?
No.
Okay.
That's Guy Parisi. He has is a court engagement,
We need to finish before their meeting.
not his own, but his clients. 1571.
2,500 because of history.
2,500.
1572.
Dismiss 1, dismiss 2. This is, that's one I talked about, yeah. Okay.
Dismiss.
1573.
Add DJ and security guards. Do we need to bring them in, or?
They've already apparently had the DJ and already had dancing denied. If they wanted to explain it to me, I might listen, but they're not here.
Yep.
I'm good with that.
1574.
Gotta be here.
Cancel and bond.
How about just
no
cancel?
bond.
Okay, cancel.
And you agree with that, Commissioner?
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't.
Yeah.
1575.
I think considering the history and what this charge is, and it's a default, this probably should be canceled.
Cancel and bond.
Cancel
I
bond.
mean, the only reason I didn't is because it's Glens Falls. but-
Yeah.
All right, cancel and bond.
1576.
3,000.
Yep.
1577.
1,500.
1,500.
1578.
I'm going to send this back because the defense attorney raises a valid issue that the ALJ actually refers to a witness by the wrong name. I'm assuming that's a typo. But that witness did not testify at the hearing whose name she used, so something is.
Do you want a different ALJ to review it, or
No, I
same
want the
ALJ?
same ALJ.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, because I mean, I'm familiar with her practice, and it just leads me to believe this is a typo. It
Okay.
doesn't make sense.
Returned or carried over?
Return to the ALJ Harvey
Yeah. Council.
for a new
Return the
decision.
hearing. Return the hearing.
Or what, is that?
Review.
Review.
Do it.
Yeah. Council disputes. Yeah, I wrote that. I tend to agree. All right.
1579.
Cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
1581.
Dismiss charge 1.
81 dismiss. Yep.
Here's
1582.
dismiss charge 1.
Dismiss.
1583.
I'm actually going to, the ALJ sustained this charge, and technically she was absolutely correct, but I think that the circumstances, to me, indicate that this was absolutely
A one-night issue?
Yes, that appeared that they had a mechanical issue and the failure happened not even at the beginning of the night, but towards the end of the night. So I'm actually going to dismiss the charge.
Exactly what I wrote, dismiss.
Okay, 1587.
I'll accept.
2,500 accept.
1589.
6,500.
6,500.
All right, 1590 is over until 8/16. 1591 and 1592.
I'm going to accept.
5,500.
Can you email him?
And if there's nothing else
Absolutely.
further on this, we'll, okay to issue the renewal?
Yes.
Okay, 1593.
$1,000.
Not a bond claim, just $1,000.
Correct.
So, $1,000, yeah.
1595.
Accept.
Accept.
1597.
Accept.
6,000 accept. So all corrected.
1598.
I'm going to grant the reconsideration and send it back to licensing. It appears that there was an illness in the family. And somebody actually tried to help them out and probably could have avoided charges from us if they just notified us, but they didn't. But he's now trying to get the license?
Yes, yep, we're
Okay.
working on it.
I'll grant it to it. I don't need to save this, this can come back again, right?
It's not going to come back again.
That's not.
1600.
I'll grant the reconsideration to accept the check.
Consideration granted.
Okay. 1601.
I'll grant the reconsideration to accept the check.
$2,500 has been paid.
Okay. 1603.
Accept.
2,000 accept.
1605.
Accept.
Is a 10-day suspension necessary in this one? Books and records. Premises, I mean,
Nope.
just $1,000.
Sure. $1,000.
Okay.
No suspension.
1607.
I realize that this is only a letter of warning, but the owner actually went out of his way to contact us, indicating how important it was that he keep a clean record, and gave an explanation about how this happened, and indicated that he actually had done everything he was supposed to do to keep the EBTs off his registers, and the company that he hired apparently didn't do apparently didn't do their job. So he's actually asking us to dismiss it, indicating that he has now been told by the vendor that it's completely fixed. So given that he wants, that he thinks it's that important, I will dismiss it.
Dismiss.
1609.
Letter of warning.
$5, I think, yep, letter of warning.
1610.
I mean, these charges are all technical, but this history isn't. So I'm going to fine 10,000.
1611.
Yeah, I mean,
1610. 1610.
10. This place is just a.
Oh, sorry.
They violated, it looks like dozens of different health or local regulations. This is a place that's heading in the danger zone.
Yep.
1611.
2,500 accept, no mitigation. There's too many 1.75 bottles in that restaurant for it to be
500
an
accept.
accident.
1612.
They seem to have an unlicensed security guard issue.
They've constantly had it.
It's the sixth one.
Yep.
I have counter 12,000 with Can you email him?
Counter 12,000.
1613,
Accept.
1,500 accept.
1614.
Accept.
Accept.
All right, 1615, we're still waiting on the actual CNC from the licensees. We're going to hold that over until 8/16. I will hold it over until the next meeting.
Wait, 616 or 615?
1615.
I thought we had a CNC.
We had some
No,
trouble
there
with
were,
an actual one.
the paperwork,
Oh, okay, so it's on 816?
yeah.
Yeah.
1616.
Did we get this paperwork? Because I don't have anything. Oh, no, I do have it, okay. Did we get the I know what my question is. She didn't send in the paperwork.
I've been talking to Frank Edgar about it, and we haven't signed it. Frank hasn't gotten back to me about, the investigation into it yet. Call the licensee.
All right, well, so, all right, I'll accept then.
Accept.
1617.
Accept, cancel, and bond.
Cancel and bond.
1618 and 1619.
So this actually was a $4,000 offer, not a cancel and bond offer.
Yes, I'm sorry, you're correct.
So I will take the
Why is that wrong?
$4,000 offer.
That's for 16.
1618 and 1619.
4,000, yes.
Yeah.
Yep, accept. 4,000 accept.
1620.
Accept.
Accept.
1621 and 1622.
Accept.
Accept.
1623.
Accept.
Accept.
1624.
Accept.
Accept, letter of warning.
1625 and 1626.
Counter 5,000. It's a third straight noise complaint in less than a year.
Yep, 5,000 counter.
1627 and 1628.
Accept.
1,500 accept.
1629.
I'll accept.
3,000 accept.
1630.
6,000, shouldn't it?
I'm actually going to go higher than that. I mean, I realize that they probably didn't get notified, but the sales are too far apart. So it should be 9,000. I'm going to offer 7,500.
7,500 for 1630.
1631.
This one, because of their history, I'm offering 7,500.
7,500.
1632.
Accept.
1632 accept, 3,000, right?
1633.
1,500 only because it's a tough case.
1,500.
1634.
Sustain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Cancel for the record.
Cancel for the record.
1635A and 1635B.
Cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
1635C.
Letter of warning, okay.
Letter of warning.
1635D.
6,500.
1635.
Hang on a second. 1635D.
It's the same licensee.
Oh,
So
all right.
C and D. So
1,000. Oh, no, 6,500. Is that what you said?
yeah, 6,500 for the D.
Oh, I see. All right, there's two separate ones. Yep, got
Yeah.
it.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
All right. 1635G.
So I'm just going to note, I know that they're not here, and this is a default. We have extensive additional charges coming against this particular licensee. Based on what I can see on the record here that I think is important, the corporation did not even exist for the vast majority of the time. I believe close to 40 plus months that we had licensed this establishment, which by itself tells me that we have a very serious problem at this location. It was dissolved by the tax department. I have no doubt that that's for failure to pay taxes, which also alludes to the fact that I cannot even tell who actually owns this license, what's actually going on here. I realize it's a default. I realize they have no adverse history. But based on what I know about what's not just here, but what's coming, I would strongly suggest that this is either canceled on the default or revoked on the default, and I suggest that it's served immediately.
So my question is, this was adjourned for what reason? Did I adjourn this? Because it was on 7/12.
It was pulled, if I remember
I
correctly.
adjourned, there was some paperwork issue. and was-
Oh, because maybe that's the question. So at that time, there were charges for 5, 6, and
What
7.
happened was there was the agenda sheet and the hearing report did not match up to the number of charges.
Okay.
So it was sent back.
So that's why those charges are not here now?
Yes.
Right.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to revoke and ask that it be served as quickly as possible. Hopefully,
Done, I'll disapprove the renewal.
pardon me?
As soon as it's done, I'll disapprove the renewal because they're operating under SAPA right now.
Okay. How soon can we get that order out, Tom?
Today.
Okay. That's soon enough.
Is this one of the gang-related ones that we talked about?
I have no evidence that there's gangs there. But could be.
You read it in the paper.
Is that what? Yeah. All right.
Are you good with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely, yes.
1635H has been held over.
To what, 816?
816. 1635I.
So similarly, I actually asked that this be put on this particular board to be moved up. I think that the decision, it's an incredible ALJ decision. I think it speaks for itself. I don't know what laws this particular establishment is actually following, if any, at this point. We have other operations that are going to be going against them, but I think that this basically stands by itself. I think that the delay here was intended in the switching of counsel in order to frustrate our proceedings. I would strongly suggest, based on this alone, and considering what the ALJ report says, that this is either canceled or revoked, and I would strongly suggest that it's also served immediately.
Yeah, I mean, having read this decision, first of all, it's a no contest default, so sustain all of the charges, default at hearing. And they have 3 charges for failure to conform to the application, which indicates to me that whatever they applied to be, they were nothing near that. And as counsel pointed out, they are violating a multitude of local regulations as well as health regulations, and they're clearly turned themselves into a nightclub. So I'm going to revoke and bond.
Revoke and bond here, too.
Thank you.
And is that Connecticut today as well?
Yeah, so both of them are revoked and bond.
Yes.
All right. Next I have is 1635K. It's a proposed rulemaking and consensus rules from Office of Counsel for permission to put them in as proposed rulemaking in the State Register.
I just would note the time, too, Chairman.
The time? Yes, it's 12:26. Oh, you mean for you and me or for this?
For you and me.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry. I've actually,
Did you just do that? All these phones here, nobody knows the time.
All right. So why don't we just do these together? 1635K and then call in 1635L.
1635L.
And then do K as well? Oh, you did already. I've reviewed these. These are basically just to clean up some of the rules of the authority. There's nothing, these are completely consensus because there's nothing controversial in these. It's basically cleaning up items that have either become obsolete because they've been deemed unconstitutional or the law has changed in such a way that they're completely obsolete, and all we're doing is removing these sections from our regulations. So I'm going to vote to approve.
Yeah, for publication.
For publication.
As will I.
Thank you very much.
You want-
More are coming.
So that's for K and L. The only other things I have were I had proposed draft declaratory rulings and proposed decisions for.
Right, so I gave you the copies of the 200-foot rule ones, the list that you gave me,
Yes.
and I have no problems with them except to the one I pointed out that had a couple typos in it. The other ones I will send you an email approving those later this week.
Is that okay with you, Commissioner Ford? Yes. All right, with that, I have no other items, unless anybody else has any other items. Next one minute. I take that as a no, then the meeting.